What's up and welcome back to the Run the North podcast. I don't know how to do this intro. We don't know how to start this show without Jake for whatever reason. Every time. This is the same problem every time. I'm Geek, that's Miller. Today we're going to be going over our top 5 corners, safeties, and linebackers. Kind of, with an asterisk. At least for one of us. We'll see who. I guess there's probably some baseball to talk about, a little bit of basketball because the play-ins are happening. But before we get into all that, Miller, how you doing?
Terrible. I feel like I'm dying. I have not had my asthma medication for a month now.
That's
so
ridiculous.
breathing has become optional at this stage in the game, which is not great. And I mean, you heard it through D&D last night, trying to do voices while my oxygen levels are lower than they are average or on average. It was a struggle. I have this like consistent feeling, like I felt it before, so I know what it is, but it's still weird when it happens, where my breathing isn't working right, and so my insides feel itchy. I don't know what the connection is, but I mean, it's something I felt all through my life. Like the medication I take, I didn't get until I was in like the 3rd grade, because it just wasn't something that my doctor was going to prescribe. And then they found out about it and they were like, wait a minute, this that good shit.
This is that good
and I
shit.
said it's not like anything crazy. It's just something I take in the morning and at night to like maintain my oxygen flow. But I don't know. It's not a good feeling, and I'm also behind on scouting, and more importantly, behind on making videos. So,
Fair.
not a good feeling.
My computer's been acting like a piece of shit for a couple weeks now, so that's been fun. I'm hoping it's just an NVIDIA driver issue, because NVIDIA did this fun thing where they pushed a driver update every day, or like every 3 days for like 2 months. And then they pushed a driver update that they know caused a bunch of problems, and they haven't pushed a new update to fix it in over a month. It's like, thanks, shitty company. So that's been fun. Weirdly, I'm behind on scouting, but I'm like also kind of not. I have the thing that I always want to do, which is having most of the top guys watched. I think I have all of the actual like top guys except for the pieces of shit watched. There's quite a few like later guys that I don't, but I'm kind of in the same boat as you a little bit. I slept like shit last night because my asthma flared up after I went and worked out last night. I could not breathe trying to fall asleep this morning. Sucked. I'd lay there and it's like, okay, suddenly I have no air. What is happening? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, that's good. And then I'd almost fall asleep and then it's like, I can't breathe. It's like, dude, can we stop?
See, mine isn't quite that bad in terms of like literally not being able to breathe.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like I'm not getting enough oxygen at any point, so my body is like breathe, and then my body doesn't breathe right. So it's like, why aren't you doing it right? And it freaks out.
Why aren't
And
you
the worst
doing
part
it
about
right?
it,
Why do you suck?
I don't know if I've brought this up on here, but I feel like I've talked to you about this. My anxiety, the first thing that kicks in with it is I feel short of breath.
Yeah.
So with my breathing already not being 100%, it sends my brain into like fight or flight, into full anxiety mode. So then my anxiety makes me feel like I can't breathe doubly. And it's especially bad right when I wake up and right when I go to bed, because that's when I'm supposed to be taking my meds. But shout out my insurance, who doesn't do their jobs. I have the fuck, who's a bad general manager? See, I can't even think right now. I have the Joe Shane of insurance companies. Yeah.
There's a joke I want to make, but I can't do it. Not in 2025. Get me put down.
Okay.
It'll get me silenced.
No, this guy wants to relate to Mario's brother, I see.
Yes. So let's talk about basketball for a second, I guess. Play-ins have happened. The Hawks lost. Shocking. That team that is
Did they
Trae
lose
Young.
2 games in a row?
Not yet. We got. So the Hawks were, I guess, the 7 seed going into the play-in. So their loss means nothing because they get another game against the Heat. So we'll see how that ends up. I would guess the Heat win because while Trae Young may be the best player on the floor, the Heat have this other thing called other competent basketball players, which Atlanta knows not a lot about.
That would be really unfortunate. It's you know what? It's already unfortunate that the Hawks lost 1 game, but if they lose 2 of them, that would be really bad.
Miller, I hate it here. All I know is the Hawks have a lot of guys whose names are incredible, and that's fun. Onyeka Okongwu is on that team, and that's just a great time. But then on the other side, the Warriors beat the Grizzlies, which surprises nobody. So the Warriors will be the 7 seed. And then the Mavericks, even without Kyrie, beat the Kings. And apparently Kings fans now hate Zach LaVine for some reason. I don't know.
What they found out he's not a winner?
I don't feel like you can blame Zach LaVine for Anthony Davis bullying you. I don't know. Maybe blame Domantas Sabonis, who put up 11 points. He's supposed to be your best player, technically. Because DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine combined put up 53, 11, and 10. So I think those two played well enough. Maybe blame Sabonis.
Dude, I don't know anything about what's
just
happened in that game.
No, I just feel like maybe blame the guys who are the problem. I guess Klay Thompson put up 23, but it's playoff Klay Thompson. Not just
Klay
that.
Thompson.
I was gonna say it's like elimination game Klay Thompson. There's nothing you can do. That's just what Klay do. But yeah, apparently the 7 Sacramento Kings fans that there are upset.
I am so glad Discord has a mute feature because the noises I just made while talking did not sound human.
That's not good.
Oh my god.
So tomorrow we get the final 2 play-ins: Mavericks, Grizzlies, and Heat, Hawks. I want the Mavericks to win just for funsies because I think it ends up. The more wins the Mavericks get, the funnier it becomes for the whole Luka trade discussion. Like, just for giggles, imagine the narrative if the Mavericks like make it in as the 8 seed and then somehow beat the Thunder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Lakers lose to the Timberwolves. Imagine the narrative that gets to exist because Luka got bounced in the first round. And
what I'm hearing is that Wemby would officially be the best player in the league.
No.
Yeah.
There's this guy who nobody's talking about for some reason, and it's driving me nuts, who is putting up numbers that nobody's ever seen before, and he's not getting mentioned. No, I'm not talking about the white guy in Denver. Giannis is on a different level right now, and nobody seems to care, and it's driving me insane. Giannis, I think, is about to, like, carry the Bucks to the finals on some, like, I know you hate LeBron, but like that 2018 LeBron shit where everybody writes them off and then somehow they're this good. That's what Giannis is about to do, because I think people forget he's actually the best player in the world for some reason. Because Milwaukee, we blame Wisconsin, if we're honest.
What I'm hearing is he's going to leave the Bucks and form a big 3 down south in San Antonio.
No, he'd go to Miami. Nobody wants to go to fucking Texas.
Him, De'Aaron Fox, and Wemby would be unholy.
It's not happening. We also
too bad it is.
At this, I was talking to somebody last night. Oh, it was Caleb. Apparently there needs to be some more concern over the Wemby situation.
What with the thrombosis?
Yeah.
Because Damian Lillard's back already. Is that what you're bringing that up,
No,
or
no. It's just there's still reports that aren't sure if he'll ever come back, and that's insane. But like I
I
get
hadn't heard
that's
that.
literally what ended Chris Bosch's career. He was only like 31,
Yeah.
so there's that's terrifying and sad.
Well, the same thing happened to Dame, and he's already coming back. Like,
That's fair.
that's unreal.
That's fair.
I
Yeah.
thought maybe that's what you were referring
No,
to.
I
Because
didn't.
it took
I didn't
him
know the
longer
same
than
thing
Dame.
happened to Dame.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I only pay like half attention. I'm going to be honest. 90% of what I know about basketball is the Lakers because the entire world won't shut the fuck up about them.
Sure.
And the Timberwolves because that's my team.
I just happened to catch a tweet from Shams
That's
last night
valid.
about it. That's the only reason why I knew.
That's valid. I have 3 teams I'm rooting for in the playoffs, kind of, all in the West. And that is because I need the Nuggets to make the conference finals, and then I need either the Timberwolves or Lakers to make it so that my first ever basketball game is a playoff game, but it's either my favorite team or LeBron. It's very unfortunate that 2 of the 3 teams I'm hoping make it to the conference finals play in round 1. That's really tough.
Yeah.
Because those odds drastically go down immediately.
Yeah. My only hope for the NBA playoffs is that the Lakers lose in round 1.
Bro's a Timberwolves fan for a minute. I love it.
For 1 round, sure.
I'm here for it. Bro's rooting for Ant-Man. Got a little bit of baseball news. The Rockies fired their hitting coach, which is good because they've been awful, like just the worst. There is 2 guys hitting well. Brenton Doyle, who is like the best center fielder in baseball currently, and Kyle Farmer, who is a 32-year-old man who has never really been mediocre in the league, and currently he's a top 5 hitter. Don't know how that works, but it does. So that's interesting. He's probably just drinking a lot of Monster. The reason I bring this up, though, is special assistant to the GM, Clint Hurdle, who was the Rockies manager, so their head coach, from like 2003 to 2011 or something like that. He was there forever, and is the only guy to ever lead them to a World Series appearance, is taking over as hitting coach, which is like cool, but also how about we fire the manager instead and just make that guy the manager because he's like actually good at this whole coaching baseball thing. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think there aren't very many options for the Bears in that world. I was going to say like a legendary Bears coach that like still is like around the team. Not really many. There haven't been many legendary Bears coaches in a while. But like, okay.
The only one
Go ahead.
I was going to say the only one I could think of would be like Rod Marinelli.
Sure.
Or Vic. Vic probably would be an even better example, but obviously he's a defensive coordinator now for the best defense in football,
Right.
so that's not going to happen.
But like, so my thought is, let's say, my brain doesn't have a great football idea here. I'm trying to go over like teams that have made it to but lost a Super Bowl in the last like decade. Okay. So, you know what? I'm just going to use Belichick for fun, right? Not the exact same level, right? Not at all. But
yeah,
this is like
Doug Peterson.
No, okay. No, he also kind of sucks now. So,
yeah. I don't know why that's where
this isn't supposed to be a bad coach. I just need a middle level guy kind of here, and I'm struggling with that. Like pretty good, but not bad.
John Fox.
Okay.
With the Panthers when they lost to the Broncos.
Or even the Broncos, because he also coached the Broncos with the first couple of years of Manning. I think he's the one who lost a Super Bowl with because he lost with the Panthers early with Jake Delhomme, and then he lost with the Broncos later. But Kubiak took.
Dude, my brain is not
either
training.
way,
oh my God.
John Fox is working as a special assistant with the Panthers next year, right? And let's say Their current coach, whose name is escaping me for whatever reason,
Dave
is
Canales.
thank you. Let's say Dave Canales didn't turn it around at the end of last year, right? So they finish, 1-16 and are just awful. And then they come into the year, are by far the worst team, right? We're through, 6 weeks, they're 0-6 and have the worst offense in football, right? So they fire one of the coordinators and give John Fox that job, while the head coach is like actively the worst in football. And it would make more sense to just give John Fox that job. That's what's happening with the Rockies, and it's confusing. Because it's worse because the Rockies, you remember last year, the White Sox were the worst team ever in the history of baseball.
Yes.
The Rockies right now, through their first 18 games, are off to a worse start than the White Sox last year.
About time.
And that is with a
Nick
coach.
Slay's team made history.
Yeah, right. And that is with a coach who has been a manager in the major leagues for 17 years and has 4 winning seasons. He has lost 100 games in back-to-back years and is on pace to lose like 140. There are 162 games in a season. This is not good. He's really bad. So maybe,
Clearly.
I don't know, fire that guy. The fact that he got extended in the offseason just shows you how bad Rockies ownership is and how little they actually give a shit. How do you keep your job losing 100 games in a season in back-to-back years and not making the playoffs since 2018? People were confused at how Marvin Lewis kept his job. At least he was constantly 9-7 and making the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is like the Browns still having
Hugh
0-16.
Jackson?
Yeah, Hugh Jackson as their coach. Still, like actively, he was their coach. That's the level of incompetency here. So it's fun. The Rockies suck, man. They're also debuting their new uniforms on Friday, and I can't bring myself to go. I wanted to go to the game, but it's supposed to snow and be like 22 degrees, and I did that once, and it sucked. I'm not doing it again.
In April?
Yeah. Oh, dudes, there are 2 seasons in Wyoming and Colorado. There
I've
is
never been
winter
out that
and
way,
summer,
so.
and summer doesn't start until the middle of June, and it ends in about the middle of October. And then it's just cold. There's cold and hot. There's none of this spring and fall bullshit. There's cold and hot.
I see.
Our temperature is not regulated at all. So, all right, I guess we should talk about that other sport ball that you actually care about.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
What?
Linebacker, corner, safety first. You want to do linebackers first? Because
Yeah, get
it's
him
the
out
one
of the
you're
way.
least prepped for. All right, Miller.
Yeah.
Who's your linebacker 5?
So I just want to preface this by saying the only 2 linebackers that are actually in any sort of like set order on my board are 1 and 2. Because of me not feeling well and dealing with some, to put it in football terms, some off the field issues, and just not having as much time as I'd like to, I'm a little bit behind. But I guess out of the other guys, if I just had to like throw one out to say was my LB5, I would probably, I'll throw out excuse me. I'll throw out Smail Mondon out of Georgia.
Oh,
Just a really good athlete at the position. I have my draft board pulled up over here. I have to read off of it because, like I said, I'm not 100% there yet. But really good athlete, really physical, plays downhill hard, good blitzer. I would like to see his what's it called? His diagnostics improve a little bit, and his instincts are a little behind the curve. But he's somebody that the best way I can put it is he's somebody that needs to see it to do it, or see it to react to it, however you want to put it. And that's obviously not ideal, but when he does see it, he's going to make big plays on the ball. So there's definitely something there. Plus, how old is he? I think he's relatively young, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's only 22.
Unfortunately, he's also had a lot of injuries and doesn't have a great frame. There's no more bulk up, probably, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I've watched 6 linebackers.
He is
and the other
my-
one I don't think is draftable. So
He is my linebacker 7. Who's your undraftable guy?
my undraftable guy. Let me make sure I got his name right here. Power Eccles out of
Okay.
North Carolina.
Don't know who that is. Did you watch Jack
He's a North
Kaiser?
Carolina guy. I have not yet.
Okay.
He's on my list.
I
though.
hate him. That's not fair. I don't hate him. He's the guy who is below Shiloh on my draft board.
Interesting.
He is my lowest rated prospect. I have some issues with Jack Kaiser.
Interesting.
One of the major ones is that he has a bunch of problems and is 25. I don't like old prospects.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah,
That's just how it works.
that's fair.
No, but Mondon, do you have a comp for Mondon, or are you not that far in the process for him?
Literally, all I have for Mondon is I've watched 2 games and I get what he is. So I still have to do some finalizing. Like I said, I don't even know if he'll end up being my LB5 when it's all said and done. So
I've got Troy Dye as my comp for him.
not very high praise.
Yeah, no. So I was talking with Caleb about this draft class as a whole last night, and I think the what we've heard some GMs say, where it's like this class is very like talent rich in the you're still gonna be able to pick up guys who could start in like the 3rd and 4th round. I agree. I also think it is very low on the star potential. It's why I want Minnesota to trade back so bad. I don't think there's that many guys truly worthy of a 1st round pick. And some of the guys I do think are worthy of a 1st round pick are going to go in the 4th round because there's something trait wise that I fall in love with. And I go, yep, don't care. That guy. And I do have to say, my weird take of these mid-round guys who I think should be 1st round picks seems to work out a strange amount of the time. I don't understand it, but so I was like going back and looking at like my ranks for guys versus consensus from the last couple of years. Obviously, the biggest one that I get to point to is like Ivan Pace, right? But like Kamari Lassiter and Mekhi Blackman, and there's always a Kobe, the original football Kobe Bryant, the good one. That sounds bad, but.
Well,
never.
I mean, the basketball one's a shitty human.
I was going to say, never ask a Kobe Bryant fan about that Tuesday in Denver. Just don't do it.
Never. Everybody gangsta till they bring up your favorite player having allegations.
True.
I saw a tweet about that the other day. That was really funny. I know a certain someone who gets really upset if you bring up the fact that Kobe Bryant is a bad person. That certain someone also is not in full agreement with the members of Run the North anymore.
No. Are you blocked? Or
No,
is it
I'm
just
not.
Jakey boy?
It's just Jake.
Okay, to be fair, I understand why that happened. Jake has been extra aggressive for some reason. All the time.
I just think it's funny.
No, yeah, but like
I don't have any interest in the drama of it. I just think it's really funny.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's so funny that it all stemmed from a conversation about country music.
With the worst take on country music that's ever been uttered.
Yeah.
I will die on that hill. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Ridiculous. Like, you don't have to like country music. Like, it's music taste, man. That's how this
Yeah.
works. But like,
The
come
idea that
on.
liking country music means you're racist automatically is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's not
And
great.
I saw someone today say that the Bears should get rid of Caleb and take Jackson Dart.
Yes, they should.
No, they shouldn't.
As a Vikings fan, I
Let
think
me-
that's a wonderful idea.
Geek, let me ask this. Do you like playing D&D every week
Yes.
on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Then you should hope that the Bears don't do that, because if they do, you won't have a DM.
Hmm.
You
I
won't have
see.
a DM in multiple senses of the word. No Dungeon Master, no David Miller. Gone. Gone forever.
No DM. That's unfortunate. No more DMs
Nope.
from DM.
Nope. No more DM on RTN either.
Tough. God, I'd have to replace you with Grayson. We can't do this.
But you can get Jared or Nicole.
I wonder if Nicole would have time.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, my linebacker 5 is somebody. It's Carson Schwessinger.
Ooh, okay.
I've watched more guys than you.
I know.
I do think we're gonna disagree a bit on him. I don't think he's bad or anything. I just have concerns. I don't know where my notes are.
What were the concerns?
Well, I mean, he is not very large. He is a small man.
He looks smaller than he actually is. He's 240 pounds.
Then his frame is bad, and that also scares.
His lower body is the problem.
Yeah.
His lower body is really skinny.
And like, this isn't the same as like I know. I was the guy pounding the table for Ivan Pace. The difference is
Height is different than skinny.
Yes, Ivan's frame was fine, and his play strength didn't worry me. We watched Ivan Pace bully people constantly.
Yeah.
And so that never worried me. That is most of it. That, and then he just hasn't played a lot. Like, he's been a starter for a year.
1 year of real production.
That's something. But I do think, like, his sideline to sideline range is great. His lower body, as much as it is also the problem, it's very fluid. He can transition, move around very well.
Dude, he can flip his hips like a corner. It's kind of crazy.
I think he's a good blitzer. I think he's, one of those high IQ linebackers. We're going to say that a lot.
Yeah.
But I like his body control as a tackler. It's just the lower body from like a strength standpoint scares me. And then the not playing a lot is also like I don't know. Is he just a 1 year wonder type guy? And we're not going to know until the pro level. It's tough because the size thing makes it weird. But my comp for him, just play wise, with being a great blitzer, but also being able to be really good off the ball, is Anthony Barr.
Okay.
I see a lot of it, obviously not size wise, because Anthony Barr was a fucking monster, but like just their actual play style. I see a lot of Anthony Barr.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who also went to UCLA, didn't he?
I don't know. That's a good question. Let me double check.
Anthony Barr.
I got it. Anthony Barr was a UCLA Bruin, yes.
Because him and
But he
Eric
was
Kendricks
also
came from
damn
there.
near 260 pounds.
Yeah. Well, he was also technically an edge rusher in college.
Yeah.
He didn't become like an off-ball linebacker until Minnesota, when Mike Zimmer was like, yeah, you're going to do this other thing, but you're also going to blitz that one time and change the rule for roughing the passer, and everyone's going to be upset. Anthony Barr is the reason he can't land on a quarterback, because he broke Aaron Rodgers that one time.
Tragic.
Yeah. The fact that people still call that a dirty hit when all he did was like tackle him and land on him is insane. That wasn't
also, it's not a dirty hit if it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care. Did you see what the Jets did to him?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so he went on Pat McAfee today and was trying to tell a sob story.
Let's go.
Right? So he said the Jets called him up, had him pay to fly himself into New York. Boo-hoo. He had to pay a little bit of money
Oh,
to
the
fly.
$50
Him
million
and his
a year man. Yeah.
Right. Him and his hundreds of millions of dollars. He had to pay for a plane ticket. So he gets there, and he said, this was after they had hired Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn, when he got there, ran and got the GM. The three of them are sitting in the room, and Aaron Glenn, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't remember the exact quotes, but he said Aaron Glenn basically looked at him and went, all right, Aaron, do you really think you're going to play football next year? And Aaron was like, yeah, man, I fully intend to. And he was like, okay, well, you're going to do that somewhere else. Please leave. And after like 15, 20 minutes of talking, the conversation ended. And Aaron Rodgers was like, why couldn't they just tell me that over the phone? Why did I have to pay to fly out there? I'm Aaron Rodgers. I have hundreds of millions of dollars and I'm sad about a plane ticket. I fucking love the Jets now. I want that team to succeed so bad. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Fuck Aaron Rodgers, dude. Normalize treating shitty players. And when I say shitty, I don't mean talent-wise. I mean personality-wise, right? Normalize treating shitty players the way that they treat the team and their teammates. If Aaron Rodgers is going to waste everybody's time, waste his time. I love that shit. That's awesome. And then everyone thought he was going to go on there and say where he was signing, and he basically gave the same answers he's been giving for 4 months. So, nothing is new with that asshole. I hate Aaron Rodgers so much.
Fair.
But my 3 and 4, I'm going to say right now, again, I don't have like a finalized grade, but they're roughly going to end up in the same place. So I'm just going to put the one that I like the way they play more that fits like my preference ahead. So at number 4, I have Chris Paul Jr.
Okay.
Out of Ole Miss. Just like a stereotypical high IQ, weak side linebacker, a little undersized, but he's athletic. He's really smart. He is a great like leader. You can see him communicating all over the field, helping guys get in position, making sure he's in position, and really good in coverage, good instincts downhill. Like he's got a little bit of everything. The big concern just lies in he is like 6'1", barely 220. So, a lot of teams are probably going to look at him and say he's a little too small for what we want. But he's kind of like Ivan Pace and being built thicker, not to the same extent, because Ivan Pace was like 240.
Ivan Pace is a little fucking ball of muscle.
Like he's not that thick, but he's got some thickness to him. And I also don't love his play strength. But, I mean, he's just got a little bit of everything. I know Brett Coleman's a big fan of his.
Ivan Pace is 5'10", 235.
Yeah, I was going to say, not quite that thick.
He's
but
just a little ball.
He's got a little thickness to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't watch Chris Paul. I don't believe in watching basketball players when I'm trying to talk about football.
Well, this is Chris Paul Jr., buddy.
Is it actually like Chris Paul's son?
No.
Well, then
wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be.
What, did Chris Paul have a kid when he was like, Jesus, he's what, 39? Oh, I guess he could have had a kid at like 17, 18. It would work. Oh my God.
How old is Chris Paul Jr.?
Like Chris 22. Junior is 22 on the nose. Chris Paul's like 39, 40.
Yeah, so yeah. Would have been about, 17, 18. That's definitely possible.
Definitely possible, but I don't think it's the case, unfortunately.
Probably not. It'd be way cooler if it was. My number 4 is Demetrius Knight. Him and Schwessinger have nearly the same grade for me. But I don't know. Knight's interesting. He's really good in coverage most of the time. I don't love him as a run defender. I think like looking towards the future that like Schwessinger probably has like the higher ceiling. It's the lack of play time that just concerns me. Because I don't think like when we talk about Anthony Richardson or guys where it's just like an athletic freak, but he hasn't played a ton of football, you can really bank on those traits. Schwessinger's not an athletic freak. So
he's not athletic.
Right. But there's levels to that. And
sure.
So as much as I think there's some major flaws with Knight, I still think he's really good as a blitzer. He's pretty good in like coverage. He needs to work on his run fits, but I think that can be dealt with. And then I don't love his tackling form most of the time, but as we've talked about, might not matter actually, because that's what killed us with Will Anderson. I still think it does matter. That's why he's as low as he is, but I think he's Jermaine Pratt.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Which is probably how he ends up later, where you don't want him as your best linebacker, but he can be a cool guy to have on the field sometime.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't hate that.
Yeah.
My LB3 is Demetrius Knight, and I disagree heavily with your evaluation in terms of his run defense. I like his run diagnostics a lot.
Okay.
I think he sees the field as a run defender very well. He comes downhill like he's a thumper downhill.
Sure. I just think he's a tick late a lot. He doesn't read it right away. I don't know.
I disagree.
Fair enough.
Could have been the games we watched.
Yep.
But from what I saw, I didn't see any lapses in his processing ability whatsoever. I also really like how thick he is. Like, he's one of the bigger linebackers in this class, and at a certain point, you got to have some meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Really high IQ player. Was a team captain despite only playing 1 year at South Carolina. So he walked into the building, said, "This is my defense," and they all said, "Sir, yes, sir," and ran with it. And that, I know a lot of like the personality stuff doesn't get talked about a lot. I know we haven't really touched on it much, but that matters a lot to me for a Mike linebacker. Considering they are supposed to be the top dog on the defense, the head of the defense, the leader. And he absolutely has those leadership qualities and skills. He's a big weight room guy. So I like Demetrius Knight a lot. I think he has the potential to be a very, very nice downhill linebacker. Let me see if I had a comp written down for him. I do not.
On Demetrius. Oh,
yeah, I know you said Jermaine Pratt. Jermaine Pratt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do not seem to have one myself. No.
Okay. My linebacker 3, who I want to move up, but I have some concerns about, but he is my personal favorite linebacker in this class, is Danny Stutzman, out of Oklahoma. I have to go find my old write-up.
Yeah, I have not watched Stutzman, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
So I think diagnostically in the run game, I think he's going to end up as similar to like when we talked about Leo Chenal coming out, where he is incredible in the run game. I think he can diagnose it very fast. His reaction time's great. His downhill burst is great. He's a good blitzer. He's good in coverage sometimes. So
that's not inspiring.
His hips are very fluid. Like, he's able to read things most of the time and understand it. The issue is, while his hips are fluid, he's kind of slow changing direction still. It's very weird. He also, like, crossing routes, he'll get really flat-footed and they'll just run behind him. It's not great. The other thing is he's light for his height. He's 6'3", but he weighs less than Ivan Pace. Not great. So he's 6'3", 233. So he's close, but that means he can get smothered by linemen pretty quick. And then in space, his tackling form isn't always great. That seems to be an Oklahoma issue. I don't think it's like Brian Asamoah level, but it is something to bring up. I think there's a lot to like about Stutzman. There are concerns that do matter. But he reminds me a lot of Chad Greenway. So I have a lot of faith in him figuring out the rest of it. He's just the two guys I have above him, and I don't know if you just have chosen not to watch one of them or if you have them listed as like an edge. But they're just a bit freakier of athletes, and I think that leads to getting drafted a little higher. A freaky athlete can cover a lot of flaws. So
This is true.
yeah. But yeah, I have like a second round grade on Stutzman. I think I only have one first round grade linebacker, and it's the one I'm least sure is truly a linebacker.
I also only have one first round grade on a linebacker, but it is not Giad Campbell, who is my LB2.
Hey,
I have like a fringe first round grade on Campbell.
Yeah.
Like on my board, it's just late round 1, early round 2. Basically saying like, if this guy went in the first round, I get it. I just don't think he's like a full on lock. But Campbell, I love what he brings to the table in terms of his football IQ. His run diagnostics are awesome. His run fits are awesome. He plays hard downhill. He's another guy that's like high character leader type, someone that'll probably step into an NFL defense and be like the top dog right away, just in terms of that leadership, what he brings to the table. Good athlete, ran a 4.5, really high motor, good tackler, good gap discipline, pretty good in zone coverage and dropping back. And he's also really, really good at rushing the passer. I want to say he was a defensive end in high school, and he brings that with him, has like actual bend around the corner. But looking at him playing downhill and even like a little bit of him dropping into zone, I couldn't help but see one of my most conflicting players in the league in terms of like how I feel about them, and Alex Anzalone. Because if he played for any other team, Alex Anzalone would be one of my favorite players in the league. But unfortunately, he plays for that team in Detroit, and I cannot openly support him. But just the way he flies downhill and reads the run with ease reminds me so much of Anzalone. And I think he's somebody that, like I said, if he goes on day one, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know if I would take him for sure on day one personally.
I'm just realizing how, like, I know Ivan Pace is thick, but again, looking at like Campbell, who's 6'3", 235.
Yeah.
Ivan Pace is literally just a little ball of muscle, isn't he?
Yeah. You got to be at that height.
My comparison to, I just call him a pit bull. It just gets more accurate every day.
Yeah.
But I also have Campbell as my LB2. I kind of viewed him as similar to Roquan, interestingly enough. I
just think he's a way better run defender than Roquan. Roquan has moments where he's going to be a liability against the run.
That's fair.
Whereas Campbell, I think he's got it top to. Although, I guess I will say Campbell does have the same, like, not stealing your thunder.
No, you're
here,
good.
Just I do think he has like the same play strength deficiencies that Roquan has.
Yeah.
But I think Campbell has a bigger frame to kind of build out more muscle.
Sure.
And considering he's only 21, like coming out as a junior, I could absolutely see a team asking him to put on like 5 to 10 pounds of muscle and negating that.
Yeah.
But carry on. I apologize.
No, you're perfectly fine. You didn't have a lot of linebackers to talk about, so now that you have one, I'll let you.
I got 2 I'm really confident in talking about. That's one.
I kind of think we have the same top 2.
I don't think we do. In fact, I know for a fact we do not.
Oh. Who the fuck is your number 1?
Just keep talking about Campbell.
I don't want to. I don't care. He's fine. He's Roquan. I think he's a second round pick. You tell me your number 1 right now.
My number 1 is Carson Schlesinger.
Oh. Okay. I'm just going to say this now. Have you watched Jalen Walker? Do you have him as an edge?
I have him as an edge. Yeah.
Okay.
He's just outside my top 5 edge rushers.
Okay.
Just because, like, I think, we talk about tweeners for, like, defensive linemen, guys that are either going to kick inside or play on the edge. This is, like, the reverse of that, where it's either a linebacker or an edge rusher. And I think he's fine as a linebacker, but
When
So
you
much
hear
better
my
rushing
comp for
passer.
it, you'll get it. Comp for him, you'll get it. But please,
Yeah.
take your turn to talk about Swessinger.
Yeah, I love his instincts. He is the smartest linebacker out of the guys I've watched. One of the smartest players I have watched in the class. I read somewhere that he idolizes Matt Milano, and that makes a ton of sense in terms of the way he sees the field, both as a run defender and in coverage. His instincts are incredible. He does a really good job. You know, we were talking about his lower body a little bit slender and him lacking a little bit of power, which is definitely a knock on him. But he does a really good job of kind of getting around that by just avoiding blocks and finding ways to contort himself away from contact before getting to the running back. He comes downhill, he hits hard. He can play man coverage because of the hips. Like I said, he can flip his hips like a damn corner. He's so good. He's one of the few linebackers to come out in recent years, in my opinion, that has like legitimate elite potential as both a run defender and as a coverage player, and he can rush the passer a little bit. My comp for him is a little lofty, but I see a lot of Levante David in his game.
Okay.
Another player that I love Levante. He's been one of my favorite players in the league for a long time. He never gets enough credit, dude. He's somebody that has gone overlooked for so long, and I see so much of that in Swessinger to the point where like Tampa's sitting at 20. If they're like, listen, we know Levante's on his way out a year or two. Let's get his protege in the building. I would not be mad at that, like at all. Although I am selfishly hoping he falls into the second round and becomes a
I
Chicago
think he's fallen
Bear.
farther than that. I don't
I'm
know.
selfishly hoping he's a Bear, man. I
No,
would
that's
love
fair.
him in Chicago, especially because like everyone's kind of convinced we're just getting rid of Tremaine Edmonds, which I get it. He's been so inconsistent. But like if they're gonna do that and they just want to go, okay, we have TJ Edwards as like our reliable number one, like just does everything and he does it consistently guy. We want a freaky athlete next to him. Swessinger would be so perfect. I love Carson Swessinger. He's I know, like I said, I know he's skinny and I know he isn't like the mold of an old school linebacker, but he plays like an old school linebacker and it makes me quite happy.
Okay. My number one guy is Jalen Walker. I have a little bit more faith in him as a true off-ball linebacker than you do. Just realizing now he probably has the best and most filled out frame of all the guys currently. 6'1", 243. That's the best ratio of all the guys we've talked about for sure.
Yeah.
But I think he's really good in zone. I think his burst, both in run fits and as an edge rusher, is great. I think his bend and ankle flexion is really good. Powerful hands. As an edge rusher, I think he's really good. I do think his instincts off the ball are a little slow. And he is very raw in man coverage. I think in zone he's very good, but I think in man it's not great. He also hasn't gotten to play a ton, much like Swessinger. But I really think he is just a Frankie Louvu clone. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really good player to have. And I think that might be why I'm so high on him, is I just see Louvu and I love Louvu, so
Yeah. So, you just described a player who is great at rushing the passer
Mhm.
and is good in zone,
Mhm.
but isn't good in man.
Mhm.
Do you know what that is in the big 2025 Geek?
What's that?
That's a 3-4 edge rusher.
You know what? I disagree. Because my
that's the
favorite
profile.
3-4 edge rushers are. See, it's weird. I view the 3-4 so weird
Why is that?
because I still think of it as a 4-3 in reality. Because the second outside linebacker that is also an edge rusher, to me, needs to be your Dallas Turner, your Andrew Van Ginkel, your freak athlete.
Jalen Walker.
No. Because Gink and Turner can actually play man. You can man them up with a tight end, and they're not going to have a problem. Walker would die.
Okay, some of them can, but not all of them.
Sure. So
the ones that are the best, can play man coverage against a tight end or a running back. I think
Walker could. He's got to develop.
Right.
You got to develop that part. But you're right. He does err more towards edge rusher. I think he follows the Frankie Louvu mold where whatever team takes him doesn't try to primarily edge rusher. That's my thought, anyways.
I'm just giving you shit.
But no, you're
right.
You're not wrong, for sure.
But no, I just think that's the more valuable position.
Yeah.
And especially with Carolina rumored to be really into him, I feel like that's an edge.
Not that I hate it, because good player, and there's only 4 guys I actually think are top 10 picks. So whatever, man.
Yeah.
And okay, that's not fair. I think a couple of the running backs are, but only one of them's going in the top 10. So whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the weirdest. This draft reminds me kind of a lot of the Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral draft.
Yeah.
But different because I actually think all of the other positions are really good. I didn't like that draft class as a whole, if I recall correctly. What was that year? Was that 2022?
Yeah, because it was the year after Fields and them. So it was 22.
Yeah, it was the class. There wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't as deep as this class overall, I don't think. There were definitely some good players taken late, but yeah, it also, the top guys weren't that great. I mean, Hamilton, Jordan Davis were great as prospects. I still think Jordan Davis could be. And then obviously Kyle Hamilton, is. But
yeah, I mean, we're talking about a year where you're taking a nose tackle in the top 15. I get what you're trying to say.
I have a little more faith in this class, and I have a lot more faith in these quarterbacks, just pure talent-wise. I was arguing with somebody about Jackson Dart. This idea that he's
good.
Yeah. Am I on drugs, or was Matt Corral a better prospect in every way?
Oh, I think Matt Corral was comfortably better.
Yeah, and he sucked at the NFL level. Dart doesn't do. Maybe Dart has a slightly bigger arm. That's not keeping you in the league.
That's why people like him more.
I think Corral is overall just the better quarterback. And I still think there was a world where Corral could have been good. The Liz Frank injury that knocked out his entire rookie year when he was gonna get a chance to play real meaningful football. Yeah. And then because he didn't, the Panthers having the number one, or needing to go get a quarterback, you couldn't hope with Corral when you were at where they were. You just couldn't. So I get it. I wish we would have gotten to see Corral get another shot. But
it is what it is.
Yeah, he's a UFL. He's UFL legend. That's all that matters. God, Khair Alam was a first-round pick. Oh, Lewis Seen. All right. Let's get off of this. You did safeties?
Yeah, we can do them next.
Oh, wait, you have only watched 5 guys. You don't have another guy to mention, right?
I saw a little bit of Sean Dolich that got me excited, but I only watched a game of his.
Okay.
So I don't have real thoughts.
My only outside of my top 5 guy that I'm kind of intrigued by is Jay Higgins out of Iowa.
I have him listed as someone that I plan on watching. He's thick, isn't he?
He's 6 foot 224. So he's not Ivan Pace thick, but as we're learning, that is not normal.
I'm thinking of someone else then.
So the issues with him is he's not a good blitzer at all. He cannot
Yeah.
rush the passer. He's small. He's not super fast, and he's a 1-year wonder like some of these other guys. He's only played a single year.
Right.
But I think sideline to sideline, he's great. His tackle form is immaculate. I think he's good in coverage. And he's like a true like field general. He knows what's going on all the time. So like there's a lot I like, but the small, not super fast 1-year wonder has me concerned. So he's a little lower on my board. But if he's around in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, it's one of those guys where it's like, yeah, you take a flyer, because I think the top end's really, really high.
Sure.
Just as not traits wise, but brain wise, which is a true like inside linebacker or off ball linebacker, I should say, is one of the positions where you can get away with just being smart and not being the most incredible athlete. So if you know everything that's coming, if you're Luke Kuechly smart, you can be okay. It's kind of hard to be Luke Kuechly smart. I keep seeing people talk about Luke Kuechly, and it makes me upset. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, man. But it bugs me. I loved Greg Olson was talking about him, and he's like, yeah, he fucking ruined our practices. Whenever we'd try to install a new play, we had to take him off the field because he'd just ruin it. We could not get reps. It's like, that's incredible.
Second best linebacker I've seen in my lifetime, easily.
What are you putting him behind Urlacher?
Absolutely.
Do you not count Ray Lewis? Or are you just a Ray Lewis hater?
Would be 3rd.
Interesting. Okay.
I think Kuechly is. I just realized I put 2 white guys above a non-white guy. That's probably gonna. You know what? Hold on. Maybe I'll say Kuechly's 3rd, just so people don't start thinking of me some type of way. No, I just.
Well, and I also just didn't know if like Ray Lewis, like, because Urlacher you would have watched from a younger age because you were a Bears fan, but I don't know if you were watching like the Ravens that often.
I was gonna say I don't have rose tinted glasses with Ray Lewis like I do with Urlacher and Kuechly.
Because I have Urlacher like 3rd, maybe 4th.
Who else?
Patrick Willis.
See. Okay, yeah. See, if I was ranking linebackers I've seen in my lifetime, Willis would go above Lewis because I remember Patrick Willis better.
Right, because
you got to remember, my first year watching football was like 2011.
Yeah, and Ray Lewis retired in like 2012. So
right, which Urlacher also retired in like 2013.
Your family watched Bears games,
right?
So you'd like see him and hear of him from your family.
It's so funny because in hindsight, I will sit and watch like final year Brian Urlacher highlights. And it's some of the saddest stuff in the world, man. He was so gassed all of the time. But I'll be damned if there's one play that lives rent-free in my mind. My favorite play I've ever seen was like the 1st or 2nd year I ever watched football. He had a pick 6 against the Tennessee Titans that was like 60 or 70 yards. And by the time he got to the end zone, there was no defender with 15 yards of him, but he fucking fell into the end zone because he gassed. One of the most athletic Mike linebackers of all time, and he was gassed running 60 yards.
Yeah.
Like he lost a step or two.
Yeah. Oh, so I was just looking at my Jack Kaiser stuff. I think he's a good tackler. He's he's a great processor, but I think he's an awful athlete. He's old, he can't cover, and has no range. That's not a good mix. This isn't, like, I know I was just talking about Jay Higgins not being the greatest athlete, but it's like Kaiser's worse. It's unfortunate.
Right.
So safeties. Do you have your safety number 5?
Yeah, I actually have 11. So we're good here.
I've got 7, including Shiloh Sanders.
Right. So my safety 5 is Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State. He is such an interesting evaluation. Did you watch him?
No, that was like the guy who was next last night, and I was just like, I don't have time.
So Winston declared for the draft as a true junior.
Okay.
despite playing like 3 games his junior year because he tore ACL. However, if you go back and you look at his sophomore tape, that dude's athleticism is insane. There's a little bit of room to grow with like the mental processing side of things because he is so green. But for him to be able to declare as a true junior and be getting legitimate hype despite playing three games his junior year, and on top of that, he's so athletic that he tore his ACL 6 months after a torn ACL. He ran a 40 and ran a 4.51. 6 months off a torn ACL. So he's like totally a dart throw in terms of athleticism and just being like a physical downhill player. But it's one that I would absolutely be comfortable like the third round. And he's, a lot like the guy that I have at number 4, quick spoiler alert. He is full athleticism, full downhill play. And you got to kind of like project growth with the rest of his profile. But I think there's plenty you can get excited about.
Okay.
He reminds me a lot of Deshaun Elliott, but
Okay.
I think he can be much better than Deshaun Elliott.
Hopefully, if you're giving him this much praise.
Well, I mean, I have a 3rd round grade on him. It's not like.
Oh, okay. Okay. I have a late 2nd round on my first guy, my number 5 guy, I should say, and that is Xavier Watts.
Okay.
Out of Notre Dame. Yeah. He intrigues me. Like, I don't think he's like, he's a weird safety to me. He's not the best in man. His hips are very, very tight. His tackle technique is something. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's not great. He's also in zone. He can get lost. I know this isn't high praise for a guy I don't have, but I think he's really good at recognizing plays. I think his closing burst in like run fits and oh God, what are you making that face about? How low are you on Watts? I almost said Makuba.
Low is not the word.
What, do you not think he's true? Or are you high on Watts? Say words.
Just keep your talking.
Use your words. But I think he's like great at play rec. His closing burst is great. I think he's really good at the catch point. He's able to bait QBs very well. In run support, he's really good. He's over aggressive at times, but most good run support safeties are, so that's not the biggest thing. He's got great versatility, great range. I think, again, he, like most guys, not a perfect prospect. There's things he can work on, but I still think, like I said, late 2nd round grade, really good. Reminds me of Malik Hooker.
Yeah, I see that for sure.
I was a big Malik Hooker guy, so pre all the injuries that made him not so good. Like Colts Malik Hooker was that guy, man. What is it with the Colts and safeties who are that guy for a while, but then get injured and aren't that guy anymore? And then they go to Dallas for some reason.
This guy just damned Cam Bynum.
No, because he didn't get drafted there.
Don't care. He's
gonna go like guy. Who was it? Antoine Bethea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be the Cam Bynum trajectory. He's gonna be really good for another decade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he won't be in Minnesota, so it'll make me happy.
That's so sad, but it's okay. We're gonna draft. What about Shaq and Cam Bynum?
Okay.
You'll learn about second Cam Bynum in a few spots. Who's you gave us your number 5. I'm on drugs. Who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Nick Emanwari. I am so frustrated by him as a football player.
Yeah. Dude, he's not my 4, but he's my 3. I'm also lower than most.
How are you going to be 6'3", 220 pounds with 32-inch arms and not be an aggressive downhill run defender? How is that not his game? He's got the Derwin James, Jeremy Chin build. but plays like he's 5'10", buck 95, and it's so frustrated.
So
Like
Jeremy Chin. Yeah. What?
Like
Sorry.
I genuinely have watched safeties in this class who are like 4 inches shorter and weigh 30 pounds less take on contact as a run defender more effectively. Like this guy couldn't shed a 180-pound wide receiver. I think if you had Tez Johnson block him one-on-one, Tez would stand a chance. And that dude weighs like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
It is so frustrating. And like, I get it. The athleticism is unreal. He's incredible. I get that. But when you're projected as a box safety, or at least somebody who's going to be impactful against the run, and you're not impactful against the run outside of some splash plays, I have my concerns. Now, I'm not like dead low on him because of the athleticism, and also I think he's solid in coverage. Like, I think his zone IQ is really good. He sees the field pretty well. He makes good plays on the ball. But he needs to learn how to play fucking run defense if he's going to be a real NFL. It's so frustrating. Like, I think he's good. There's a reason I have a second round grade on him. I'm just so frustrated with his existence, and that's why I'm being so like negative. Like, I do think he does have the upside to be good. But right now,
speaking of guys that are 4 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter, my safety 4 is Billy Bowman Jr. out of Oklahoma.
I hate Billy Bowman.
Really?
Kill
Why?
him.
Why?
Because that dude has like 4-inch long arms and is the worst tackler I've ever seen.
Yeah, his tackling technique's not great.
He's a liability. He's a liability. He cannot play on an NFL field. I'm dead serious. I have an undraftable grade on Billy.
I don't think it's that bad, but okay.
I don't care how good he is in coverage because he's great. If he can't tackle, you can't put him on an NFL field.
I don't think he's that bad, but that
okay,
you're not...
I lied about undraftable. I have around 5 grade on him. Like I don't like Billy Bowman. I hate Billy Bowman.
I think the coverage really does matter, at least to me.
It matters until he has to tackle somebody and then he dies.
Well, so send him to a team with a good coach and teach him how to tackle. He's young enough you can do that.
Right, but he has 28-inch arms.
That's fine.
Let me make sure I've got that right.
Okay,
no, that's
so
not fine.
He's not going to be able to arm tackle.
arms.
Neither can any other defensive back.
Well, that's just not true.
What defensive back is arm tackling any running back?
Okay. I'm not saying he has to be able to like throw one arm out. You need to be able to get your arms around the defender or around the ball carrier and bring him down. He can't do that. His arms are going to stop like here on the defender's like stomach and ass instead of wrapping around. It's the
maybe
same
on
problem
Derrick
I had with
Henry,
Chase
not
Brown.
on most guys.
No, it's the same fucking thing that Chase
Sidney
Brown's brother did at Illinois. Yeah. And listen, that dude's a bum. I was right. That dude's a bum. Billy Bowman, same shit.
Yeah, but here's the difference. Sidney Brown went to Illinois, so that's all that matters there. Illinois.
Oh, yeah, Oklahoma.
Well, no, this is actually more of a. This was technically just like an Eddie Jackson comparison. Illinois safeties, not because he went to Illinois, just because being in Illinois.
Billy Bowman is Eddie Jackson with T-Rex arms, dude.
See, I think he's better in coverage than Eddie by like a lot. I think
Eddie Jackson was at his peak. Eddie Jackson was like one of the best cover safeties in football.
My comp will interest you, I think, because he also isn't the best tackler, but not for the same reasons. For this guy, it's more lack of effort most of the time. But I think Bowman is incredible reading and being able to jump past lanes. I think he's got pretty good speed. His hips are fluid. His vision of the field's good. His closing burst is good. We just got to teach him how to thump people and not need to wrap up. We just got to teach him how to commit murder. He's really good at navigating traffic. He was great special teamer throughout college. Like you said, his tackling technique is bad, and his length is not good.
Non-rosterable.
It's not.
Not literally, but
it's not that bad. But just play style wise, he reminds me a lot of the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu.
I think that is disrespectful to Tyrann Mathieu.
I think you, like most people, are a lot higher on Tyrann Mathieu than I am. I don't he's great.
Three-time
but
first team All-Pro.
yeah, what are you like most people going to say he was the best safety of his generation when there were like
I don't
6 that
think
were better?
I just think he's really good.
No, but again, this isn't. I think he's the same player. I think they play very similarly, just like watching them on the field. And what
I
is
still think
Tyrann
that's
Mathieu known
disrespectful.
for? His ability to read everything as a safety and be able to make plays in the pass game. And while he's not Eddie Jackson when it comes to tackling, and that's not because of bad form, it's just the thing with Tyrann Mathieu is he doesn't want to a lot of the time. The amount of time he'll just like watch a guy, just like, yeah, I'm good. If he can't get the ball, he doesn't want to get the tackle. Them's the rules.
Yeah, I will say I just think there's a better Eddie Jackson comp in this class. Or not Eddie Jackson. Good God, I'd never compare safety to Eddie Jackson. That's rude.
Yeah, that's fucked
There's
up.
better Tyrann Mathieu
Who do
comp.
you
in
think
this
is
class, in my
Tyrann
opinion.
Mathieu?
That would be my number 3, but I will let you.
Oh, we'll do your
finish
number
your
3. No, I'm
speaking.
good. I still only have. I love his coverage, but I still only have a second round grade on Bowman. I
Like
think
I said, I have a 5th.
sure, and I think that's just again our major differences in. I have learned quite well over the last couple of years that guys with issues tackling can learn differently. I'm not saying he will, but I'm not going to drop you like in this case. I'm not going to make him a 5th round prospect when I think he's a 2nd round prospect just because of tackling. I think if he was a solid tackler, I would probably have him more as like a 1st round prospect. I think he's that good in coverage.
I'd have him as a 3rd rounder if he could tackle.
Fair enough, but
Like, I'm just not high on him in general.
But also, welcome to grading prospects, people. We're not always going to agree, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Who's your number 3?
Andrew Makuba out of Texas,
Okay,
who I
he's-
think is a way better Tyrann Mathieu comp.
He's my number 6, and I have him comped with Logan Ryan.
See,
But
I
okay.
don't know. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like I remember Logan Ryan
That's
perfectly.
fair.
But great athlete, and
Yeah.
I think he's the best coverage safety in the class, like
Okay.
by a decent margin. He processes the field so well. His zone IQ is incredible. He's good in man coverage. The only like real issue I have with him is he isn't a great run defender. Now, unlike Billy Bowman, he can do things. He can tackle. He can go downhill and make himself involved, and he will. He'll try to. And he actually like plays pretty mean downhill, which rocks. Also, incredible ball skills. Really, really good ball skills. So I just think like if you want a complete coverage safety, then Makuba's the way to go. I think, like I said, best coverage safety in the class. Just the run defense being fine and not good is why he's not higher for me.
I just to let everybody out there know, Bowman, Watts, and Makuba are all within like 3 grade points of each other. So there's not a big change doesn't happen until the next 3 guys.
I see.
Which me and Miller were kind of similarly low on this guy. My number 3 is Nicky Manwari. He's built like Jeremy Chin. Yes, he also plays like Jeremy Chin.
Well, I'm thinking like prime Jeremy Chin when he was like good at football.
His rookie year, the only good season he ever had.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeremy Chin doesn't like to. Sorry, Nicky Manwari. They're the same guy.
I do have a Jeremy Chin comp on him.
Yeah,
So,
that's,
like, you're
that's my
right.
comp. I like the size speed combo is great. I think his tackle radius is really sick when he decides
For
to
sure.
actually tackle. He can also, dude can light people up. It's a blast. I do think he's really good in coverage. But yeah, he does not like to play against the run most of the time, if ever. I also think I don't want to just call him this crazy athlete entirely. His hips are very stiff. He's not good at
Yes.
changing direction.
Yes.
Straight line speed, he's sick, but he's like not keeping up with the shiftier
Again,
guys.
why I
And
think he should be a box safety
Yeah.
because of the lack of ability to flip his hips. Yet
yeah,
he doesn't play like a box
No.
safety. He's a box safety with the mentality of like a single high safety, and it's gross. I hate it.
I also don't love him in zone, and he loses track of crossing routes a lot. He doesn't know what's happening back there. It's tough. But I think there's still so much athletically to like that he's still intriguing, but I still only have a second round grade on him. He's a sick athlete, but there are major problems, and I think anybody who has him over Starks is ridiculous. They don't deserve to keep talking about football. I know, that's insane. I was just saying we're allowed to disagree. But man, not on this one. Not really.
I see. I disagree with that. Just because if he gets to a place where they're like, "Hey, listen, Nick, fuck what you heard, play downhill now," and he does it, then you've got like a Derwin James and.
Well, no, because Derwin can flip his hips and play in coverage and do all those
Derwin
things.
James-esque player who can play everywhere, everything except man coverage. And
yeah, maybe. But
okay, let me rephrase that.
Is,
a better example, Kyle Hamilton.
The issue is, if you do all that work with Emanwari, he can get to be what Starks already is. Come on. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's also what? 2 inches taller than Starks, weighs 20 pounds more, has longer arms, is substantially faster.
Yes. Because we've seen with safety that 40 time has always really mattered.
I'm not just talking about the 40 time, man. I'm talking about the tape speed.
But where the fuck is Malachi Starks?
Speaking of speed, it doesn't matter. Because at number 2, I have Xavier Watts.
I thought you were putting Malachi Starks at 2, and I was gonna.
No, he's my number 1. He's my number 1. No, I love Xavier Watts. I have a type at safety, I've determined, which is just slow but really fucking smart and plays hard downhill. Because I've always been a Xavier McKinney fan, which is ironically my comp for Xavier Watts. That's exactly what Xavier McKinney is. Last year, loved Tyler Nubin. Same type of player.
Yeah.
So this 3 now, where I'm looking at the same breed of player, and I'm just a huge fan. Xavier Watts is maybe the smartest safety in this class in terms of zone IQ, in terms of field vision. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but his reactive quickness is incredible. And he's also really good at just being I don't want to put this, reading out the offense and putting himself in position so he's not caught having to catch up. Right? He has ways to mitigate his lack of speed. And then, Geek, I know you mentioned his tackling. I disagree. I think he's a very sound tackler. There are plays where he's going to just try to light you up, and sometimes he'll miss on that. That happens. He's a little over aggressive. I do agree at that point. But I think I would rather have a safety who knows how to tackle well and just at times can be a little over aggressive than someone like Billy Bowman who can't tackle at all. So I love Watts.
Do you have a first round grade on Watts?
I have an early second. Okay. I do not have a true first round grade on any of the safeties in this class.
Really?
I do not have a true first round grade on a lot of players. I have 14. If
wow.
That. Yeah, no, I will say Xavier Big Dog Malachi Starks is going to be a top 20 player on my board. Okay. But I don't have a true first round grade on him.
Where's Malachi? Yeah, no, Malachi's a top 10 player on my board. He is
fair.
Sorry, I lied to you earlier. I have 8 guys who I think are worthy of being top 10 picks. That's it. I have 8. And you would probably be upset with a couple of guys that I don't have in the top 10, but that's okay.
But yeah, no, I love Xavier Watts. Like I said, Xavier McKinney comp, very similar player. And we know that can work.
Time for my irresponsible view. My safety 2 is Malachi Moore out of Alabama. Have you watched Malachi Moore yet?
He's my 7.
Okay. I want to know your thoughts. I'm intrigued before I get into
Uh,
my.
So the big thing with him is I like his IQ and his motor and his physicality a lot. But his lack of speed and his aggression really worry me. And I know I was just talking about a lack of speed not mattering, but Watts is bigger and is not going to play as like a range safety, as like a free range safety, as a split safety, like that type of position. That's where Malachi Moore is going to play because he's smaller and that's just more of what he fits. So the speed does matter for someone a little bit more of his profile. And I'm worried about how that's going to impact his range. I also just don't think like his reactive quickness is nearly as what good as someone like Watts. So
Okay.
he doesn't like make up for that speed. But I think he can be a starter like day one in the league. I have a 3rd round grade on him. Like
So-
if you were to tell me 5 months from now that he was a starter somewhere and playing good football, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. I think, shockingly, the weaknesses I have for him are very similar. Also, he doesn't disengage from blocks well, probably because he's smaller than most of the guys blocking him, which happens. Yeah. And I think that can be learned eventually. The lateral quickness thing is big. I think the biggest reason a lot of people aren't going to be in on him, because I think you can bulk him up a little bit and make it a little bit less of a problem, because he's 5'11", 196, which puts him an inch shorter and 8 pounds lighter than Xavier Watts. I think if you gave him the 8 pounds, I don't think it slows him down at all, but it probably helps with a lot of other things. I think the big reason a lot of people are going to be lower on him is just the injury history isn't that great. But this is my grade, not actually where I think he'll go. I don't think he gets drafted in the 1st round, but I think overall, I think the ceiling here is probably higher than most of the guys I have below him. I can see Xavier Watts being better. It's the Malik Hooker of it all. Like, there's a world, but there's just so much with Malachi, especially like IQ wise, that I love. I think his ball skills are great. His ability to recognize routes in the middle of them. I think he's a great tracker when it comes to the ball in the air. I think his footwork is really good. I think he's a really good tackler, which really helps. He might not be big, but he can at least actively tackle, which has been a problem for a few guys. But I get why a lot of people aren't as high on him. I see so much Cam Bynum, though. So much. And it's... If he can beat Cam Bynum, I think that's great. And he's probably going to end up being a 3rd or 4th round pick. And whatever team gets him in the 3rd or 4th round is going to be extremely happy.
You know what's funny? You like Malachi Moore substantially more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say my comp for him is much higher praise than your comp.
Is it? Who's your comp?
Micah Hyde.
Okay. Similar mold.
Yeah. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Just Micah Hyde came to mind first because I'm not a freak.
Well, I'm sorry that the guy who currently at the time was playing on my team came to my mind first. I'm sorry.
You freak.
I'm sorry I wasn't actively thinking about a Packer, you fucking loser.
I was thinking about a Bill, you bum.
Bro's a Bills fan, not a Bears fan.
No, I'm not. I would hate my life if I was a Bills fan.
Why? Because your team can win games sometimes?
Because my team would constantly get beat in like the deep playoffs, and it would be really sad to have my heart broken.
Are you really one of those guys who would rather your team not make the playoffs than like... You're really one of those. I'd rather only see my team win a Super Bowl and otherwise never see them in the playoffs. That's insane.
Listen, man, I'm used to this heartbreak of poor play in general. It's a different. I wouldn't be used to that type of heartbreak. I don't know why I stuttered so hard trying to say that.
But. All right. Hey, I think we are in agreement about safety one.
Yeah, Hunter Wohler.
Who the fuck? No, Malachi Starks. The other
Yeah.
Malachi.
Yeah.
There are two of them.
The better Malachi.
Yes, I agree. Unfortunately, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, he's here. I'll let you talk about Starks,
Why are
but
you
I
letting
want to
me
bring up
talk about
one
Starks?
thing,
You talk
just
about
because
Starks.
I feel like I'll have more to say about the corners.
Certain ones probably for sure.
Yeah, but with Starks, my biggest concern with him isn't even his fault. It's just he has like the Derwin James struggle, where you remember that period of time where the Chargers didn't know what position Derwin James played, and it resulted in Derwin James being like bad at every position.
Yeah.
That has happened with Starks when it comes to his zone IQ,
Okay.
which is the reason I don't have a first round grade on him, because obviously in coverage, the important of the two is going to be zone coverage. You
Yeah.
need your safety to be able to hang up in zone. And Starks, because they played him at safety, in the nickel, in the box, at linebacker, at the other safety. Like they put him everywhere. He was never given a chance to like really lock in and learn a position. So like I think he reads the field very well, but in terms of understanding where he needs to like position himself, or where he needs to like move his body when lined up at certain positions, he's just not there yet.
Okay.
And I think that's something that'll come with time. Obviously, like I'm not super worried about that development long term.
Send
think
him to
within a
Minnesota.
year-
Let him learn from
Don't give him to Minnesota. Give
Harrison
him to
Smith.
a team that isn't purple. Give him to a real football team. So he can't go to Minnesota or Baltimore, anywhere else except for Green
yes.
Bay or Detroit.
the two places that are maybe the best at developing safeties. Don't let him go there.
The point is, send him somewhere where they will say, hey, Malachi, this is your position, and this is what we'll have you play. We're not going to make you play kicker anymore. I know they didn't literally make him play kicker, but I'm surprised
Maybe
they
they
did because they
should.
had him play everyone else. But the point is,
Justin
like,
Reed does it. Justin Reed? Eric Reed.
Yes, Justin Reed.
Okay.
Eric Reed's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Yeah, I still get the names mixed up all the time for some reason.
But no, I think he's great everywhere else. Maybe the athleticism isn't fantastic, but it's functional. It works.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think that's the biggest problem with his athleticism is not that it's not good, it's that he puts way too much faith in it sometimes.
Yeah.
That's not great. But I think he's really good against the run. I think his processing speed against the run is great. His tackling form is really good. There's so much to like. I get I get what you're saying. I just don't know if I care. I think because he can be.
I don't think it's like a detrimental to him. Like I said, that's the difference between him being like 15th on my board and 20th on my board.
I just
want
like him to get a coach that can. I think had Derwin James had a real coach when trying to learn, like trying to be everything, I think it could have been okay. But you have to give him the right coach, and that
you have to give him the right coach, and you have to give him like an actual amount of like reps there.
Yes.
Derwin, it was every play he was somewhere different. Malachi Starks, it was every play he was somewhere different. He never got the chain plays together.
I was gonna say, you have to, at least start by giving him one spot, figure it out, then move him to nickel, figure it out, then move him. And then once, give him 2 or 3 years to get all the spots like truly figured out. And then I think he can be your Harrison Smith, Kyle Hamilton-esque guy where you just say, you know what, this play, we need you here. I don't think he's going to be, oh my God, Josh Metellus ever. Brain broken. Dude, I'm not going to tell you the name I was thinking of for some reason. It's not normal. No. I'll tell you later. But yeah, I don't think any human can really be Josh Metellus. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. I don't know how you line a defensive back up at nose tackle and have him win reps. I don't know how that works. Metellus is a freak. He's not great at anything, but he's good at everything for some reason. He is the definition of a jack of all trades. And I don't know if there's another one of those. Not in that way.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you can line somebody up at a nose tackle for one play. He got like 45 reps at nose tackle in games last year, and it worked. That's not normal.
Weird.
How cool would it be to be a coach of a player like that, though?
Yeah.
Just like, our nose tackle's tired. All right, safety, you get down there. All right, we need somebody to go be an outside corner. You were just playing nose tackle, but go outside. Somehow it works. Don't understand it.
So,
yeah.
do you have any other safeties you would like to bring up?
So I've only watched 7. We've talked about 6 of them because the one guy I had outside was Makuba, and you talked about him. So the only other safety I've watched is Shiloh Sanders. He intrigues me. I think there's something there. There could be something there at least. I also think there's a world where I hate him as much as the guy I have him comped to, because there's a world where he's just the most dirty motherfucker of all time. I don't think he was that bad in college, but I do think there's a world where he could be that bad. Do not give this guy to Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Because he will become Kareem Jackson, and that's a problem. Not the cool Texans version of Kareem before he turned into a piece of shit, but the Sean Payton piece of shit that Kareem became. Have I ever mentioned I hate Sean Payton?
We know. I'm a really big fan of Sebastian Castro from Iowa.
He was one of the other guys I still need to watch.
And much like every other Iowa defensive player ever, he's just like a high motor, high IQ, knows everything all of the time type of player. I read somewhere that his idol, like his favorite player growing up, was Troy Polamalu. And that makes so much sense from the way he plays downhill. Like, I think honestly, he's really similar to Malachi Starks, but he's a tiny bit bigger, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he is. He's 7 pounds heavier, but the same height, relatively the same length. And I have him with a slightly higher grade than him. I also really like Hunter Wohler from Wisconsin. Just like an old school box safety who ironically reminds me a lot of Josh Metellus. But I don't think he's going to be playing nose tackle, unfortunately. I think he's going to be limited to linebacker and safety and maybe rushing him off the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy I liked? Oh, Jalen Reed out of Penn State.
Okay.
Who is, you want to talk about someone who can literally just play any position in the secondary, but is not going to be more than okay at any of them. He is the ideal backup.
Gotcha.
Like, he is the perfect backup.
You want him on your
team. Could be like a,
for sure.
He's going to do something. Yeah, like he'll be a great special teamer. And, you know, if your strong safety goes down, he can play in the box. Free safety goes down, he can play over top. If your nickel goes down, he can do that. If your boundary corner goes down, you're probably not going to feel good about it, but maybe he can play out there too. I do think there's a world where he could be a starter, though, if he grows a little bit in coverage. He reminds me a little bit of Jaquan Brisker, which makes me excited because I love Jaquan Brisker. But those would be the other guys. Craig Woodson was also a fun watch, but don't love him.
Why are people who aren't Tennessee fans are driving me nuts? Because Nico, however you say his last name, the quarterback, is transferring. And it's not because of the money, it's because of the system. And everybody's like, yeah, but look, Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker, all these guys that he's ever coached have gotten drafted. It's like, yeah, and the knock on them is
backups.
and the knock on them is that they all have a lot of talent, but none of them know how to play quarterback in a real way. And they're like, yeah, but he'll get drafted. It's like, Nico wants to be a real quarterback. And I think he might have the tools to do that. I don't think him transferring's a problem. What is the problem is, why did you wait till after spring ball? You should have transferred earlier.
Yeah.
You freak. And then I hate why would you have chosen to go to Tennessee right away? Because they gave him $8 million as a 17-year-old. I'm going there too. I'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
You freaks. I'm sorry. It was Hendon Hooker was trending on Twitter, and I wanted to see why. So I clicked it.
Hendon Hooker in the big 2025 is crazy.
Yeah. Man, it's so unfortunate that he became a Lion.
I mean, not really.
Yeah, because I thought there was a world where he could become a guy.
I didn't.
Yeah, and you
So
also
I
don't think
was
there's a world
right.
where Milton could become a guy. And
I think there's a world where he could be fun.
he was. Did you watch the final game last year? I don't want to talk about who the competition was. I just want to know if you watched. That's all that matters to
Yeah,
me. That was fun.
like I said when we did the free agency recap, and he got traded to the Cowboys. He has as many good games in the NFL as Trey Lance, who he replaced.
Yeah.
They are the same player. He's just bigger and like the same age.
And a way cooler arm, though.
Fair.
Like, Joe Milton's arm is freaky.
Yeah, but Trey Lance went to North Dakota State, and that there's an aura to that.
Bro just said Carson Wentz has aura, which is good. He's probably going to be
He
my
did.
backup QB.
He did when he was good.
Actually, can I put it on the record right now that I think Ryan Tannehill will be the Vikings' backup next year?
Backup what, receiver?
No, he's going to be QB2. I'm calling it now.
Chinkies.
I don't think that's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem. It's just funny.
I
What is he,
also-
like 70 now?
No. Ryan Tannehill
Like
is not that old.
34.
Dude, Joe Flacco just got paid real money
No,
again.
I know. I'm giving you shit. I'm not.
But no, yeah, Tannehill's 36. He's older than I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine because in my head at least, he's okay. I trust him more when it comes to, especially after watching what happened in week 18 of last year, because the other option is Carson Wentz. And if I need a quarterback to take over for a couple of quarters for one reason or the other, I have a little more faith in Tannehill's ability to operate an offense. I think Carson Wentz still might be the better player, but he's still got a lot of bozo gene. Tannehill's not really a bozo. He's like the safe backup, and I'm cool with that. What? What happened?
No. Nico's going to UCLA, right?
Yeah.
He's completed his Chapel Road arc.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure it's in Pink Pony Club. I might be wrong. One of her popular songs. There's a line in it that says, "I'm having wicked dreams of leaving Tennessee. Here, Santa Monica, I swear it's calling me."
Ah.
He's completed his Chapel Road arc. Let's go. Shout out to Nico, man.
Nice.
He's a Pink Pony girl. That's awesome.
Nice.
I love the internet. The internet's
Incredible.
beautiful.
Okay.
Corner time.
All right.
Corner time.
Yes. And number 5 is where I'm already irresponsible. Give us your number 5 though.
My number 5 is Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame.
He's my number 6.
And I wish I could put him higher. Like if we're not accounting for injuries, Benjamin Morrison is my CB3.
Okay.
And then I would have a really irresponsible CB1. But I love
fuck is your CB1?
I guess not really irresponsible, just wouldn't be Travis Hunter, which feels irresponsible.
Is it Will Johnson then?
It would be if we weren't counting injuries.
Okay. I see.
But because of injuries, he's not.
Sure.
But with Benjamin Morrison, my biggest concern obviously is the injury. And also like specifically his injuries being his hips and the most attractive part of his game being his fluidity is scary.
Yeah.
But even then, like if he loses his fluidity, he's still got good speed. He's still got great like IQ in zone coverage, and he fielded really well. He's really physical in press. He's has good ball skills, and he is very much willing to play downhill. It reminds me a lot of Darius Slay when healthy.
Okay.
There's a couple guys in this class that have slayisms, but I think Morrison is the one that I
my
would.
comp for him is Kendall Fuller.
Yeah, fair enough. But no, I
the
love
Washington
Benjamin
Fuller,
Morrison.
not the Chicago Fuller.
The lesser of the Fullers, yes, I'm familiar.
All right, man. No.
But yeah, Benjamin Morrison without injury would be a first-round talent. With injury, I have a mid-second grade.
I was
on
gonna
him.
say I have him just out of the first round. I have 5 first-round corners though.
I have 2.
Interesting. You only think Hunter and Johnson. Interesting. Again,
Yes.
we have different scales though, so I get it.
Yeah.
Because my scale is a year-to-year scale, which is weird because I still never have 32 first-round picks, which, whatever. My number 5, I don't know if you've watched him, and I don't know if that... I have heard nothing about him, so I don't know if there's something I don't know, because I didn't, look into things, so I guess you'll tell me, because you probably know. It's Azari Thomas out of... where's he from? Florida State? Yeah, Florida State.
Yeah.
What do I not know? Please tell me. Lower me.
My big thing with him is he is a slow press corner.
Okay.
And that's scary. Because if he gets beat off the line, he's done.
Sure.
And he's not good in off coverage for you to be like, well, I know he's best as a press corner, but we're going to play him 5 yards back or 10 yards back.
I don't think he's as bad in off coverage as here.
He's my CB10. I have a 4th round grade on him. I'm not there with him.
I'm in love for some reason. And again, it's because of who I saw watching him play. Size-wise, speed-wise, the weirdness in press. Dude, he's Xavier Rhodes. 1-to-1. And the minute I saw that, I was like, oh, give him the right coach, and he is going to be the best corner in football. I don't know if that's actually true, but he might have a year like Xavier Rhodes did. There was that one year where Xavier Rhodes was just the best corner, and it made no sense. Everybody remembers the fight with Odell. Odell was fighting every good corner that year for whatever reason.
He was throwing hands.
But I think he's I've got a lot of notes. I do think you're right. For a press corner, I don't think his press technique is bad. It's a lot of the punch initially. He has an incredibly powerful punch to start. He's just awful at aiming it.
Yeah.
Which I think that can be worked out pretty well. I don't think he's the best tackler in space, but it feels like a lot of corners aren't, so it's not the biggest knock.
Sure.
He's obviously not Devon Witherspoon. Cool.
Right.
He has this weird thing where every play ends up as I think he's good at tracking the ball. I think he's good at the catch point. He just refuses to ever catch the ball.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
His pass defended to turnover numbers are insane because he just knocks the ball to the ground and moves on, which it's just catch it. Whatever. He does the normal corner thing. He can get grabby when beat, but I think he's not fast, but I think he's a good athlete outside of that. I think he's very twitchy. He's very fluid, especially for his size. And he's very good at using the sideline as a help defender all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's all of those things where I see the issues, but I'm just so locked in on what that peak could be. Especially, dude, the size is sick. My initial, the other guy I initially thought of just because of how big he was Richard Sherman. The issue is he's just not correct at the catch point to be Sherm.
Yeah.
Because Sherman was a receiver. He wanted the ball. This guy does not want the ball. He wants the ball on the floor, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's he can't catch, maybe? I don't know. But it's I can't have the ball, so neither can you, is how he plays, and he just slaps that shit. He's very Dikembe Mutombo. I also just like how aggressive he is against the run. I like a corner who's willing to, try to stop the run, even if he's not the greatest tackler, because you're a corner. And while tackling does matter, you are the least important good tackler on the defense. And I don't think he's like awful. I just think in space, one-on-one, he's not the greatest. But yeah, I have a very late first round grade, and that is just because I see a world. Again, him and Malachi Moore really are I see something that maybe nobody else does, and who knows, it could end poorly and we never see them matter. Or they're Ivan Pace. I'm hoping for the second one. I'm also hoping that somehow they're both Vikings, but sorry.
Goodness. No, you're good.
I bored Miller, but I finally had my
No, I just didn't sleep much last night,
Fair.
so the Yannis are here.
For over the last couple of weeks of doing these, I haven't had a lot of prospects I cared this much about. I'm glad today was my day with the two.
Yeah.
Miller, who's your number 4?
I do want to say real quick before I move on to my number 4. I lied. Thomas is my CB12.
Damn, that's
not
even
my
worse.
10. Yeah, but my 4 is Trey Amos out of Ole Miss.
Okay, he's my number 7.
He's another very, very good press corner.
Yeah.
But I think he's quicker than Mr. Thomas. He ran a 4.43 opposed to a 4.58.
Yep.
He's got good length, good frame, very high IQ, very physical, awesome ball skills as well compared to Thomas. Really good awareness and zone coverage, closes quickly, really good downhill. You can mirror pretty well. He's willing to get his hands dirty as a runner. The biggest things are just the athleticism. His footwork is also a little bit clunky, and I would like to see him tackle a little bit more consistently. But it's funny that I am higher on him than you. I'm sure I would also be higher on you than him. I'm sure if I asked him about the Geek Slays, like rank your top 10 Twitch streamers.
Imagine he put me at number 1.
Well then,
imagine Trey Amos is out here watching the Geek Slays. Imagine Trey Amos knows ball like that.
But no, the reason I say that is because my comp for him is someone that I really, really like and someone you don't really like. And we have fought about this guy on multiple occasions.
Who's your comp?
Hold on, I want you to guess this. Think pressman corner that I think is good that you know like.
Oh, is it Ward?
It's Charvarius Ward, yes.
Okay, my comp is Carlton Davis.
Ward again.
Okay.
Again, I am higher, you are lower. So Carlton Davis makes sense. It's the same the same archetype of player.
Yeah.
But I have
a early second round grade on Amos. He's like him and Morrison are similar.
So we have the same grade on him.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So technically, I'm not higher on him than you.
I'm just insanely high on some other guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, but yeah, no, I like Amos. I think
that's fair.
He is quite fun. I believe he is a Buffalo Bill, if I had to shoot my guess.
Okay.
Or a 49er. Like early second round, they trade
I was
up
like,
for him.
no, because that's way too
early.
early.
They're not taking him at 11. No.
I think there's a decent chance that Will Johnson's there at 11, and if the Niners don't take him,
that would be a
dumb.
way better pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would say
dude,
they're
I keep
dumb
seeing Will Johnson fall,
they really like.
And that's freaking me out. I would give anything for him to fall, man. I really would.
It's the injury. Listen, me and Jackson were having, or no, was it me and Jackson or me and Patrick? I don't know. Me and someone were having, it was me and Patrick. It was definitely me and Patrick. We were having this conversation about Will Johnson falling. Because the NFL doesn't learn its lesson about things. And this is exactly what happened with Christian Gonzalez. Because remember, he fell to fucking 17.
See, but remember, we all thought the same thing about Stingley. And then he went, didn't he go before Sauce?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like
Stingley was also like a freak athlete on top of being really technically refined.
Which I think would make the injury worse for him. Because, like,
you would think. But,
okay.
Oh, no,
one of the defensive coaches is going to see Will Johnson early, and they are going to force it. I hope, at least.
New York Jet to replace DJ Reed.
God, him and Sauce paired would be fucking unfair.
Crazy.
I guess with that.
Those two with that front seven.
Yeah, you right. They're not gonna do it. They're taking Shador.
The Patriots would have to bench Drake May twice a year.
Dude,
at least to start.
The Bills would have to bench Josh Allen once a year.
Oh my God,
Josh Allen already has his problems with the Jets defense. Yeah. Now what's he gonna do? My number 4 is the guy whose name I can never remember how to say. Is it Jade?
Which one?
Jade,
Baron.
Jade. Fuck.
Listen.
Jade.
Okay, here. Let me help you remember. This is how I remember it.
Okay.
Do you remember XXX Tentacion?
Kind of.
Well, his name was Ja. Okay,
gotcha.
That was his real name. His name was Ja. I guess another way to put this, the more relevant thing would be Ja Morant.
Yeah.
So just imagine they have a day to celebrate Ja Morant. It's Ja Day.
Ja Day. I don't know why that throws me off so bad, but it does. There are so many way more difficult names that I can do, and then Ja Day is.
How did you pronounce Thomas's first name?
Am I wrong? Azari?
I didn't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it myself. I
think it's Azari.
Because if you get that right and you can't get Jade right, that would be funny. That's what my point was. Because I actually don't know how to pronounce it.
Because I don't listen to these games. Like I don't listen to games with audio and hear it. What?
It's according to 24/7 Sports. It is Azarie. Azarie. I don't know why.
Okay.
Azarie, yeah. I don't know
the
why
way you were saying it was lost aura.
Because I was going.
Azarie might gain aura, actually.
Azarie, yeah. It's Azarie.
Okay. Yeah. I don't listen to like.
Yours looked right.
Yeah, I don't listen to like the announcers ever.
Yeah.
Like I'm just watching the film, and the film never has audio. So like,
yeah,
I just see the name and make a guess and see what happens. But Jade, I don't know. I was supposed to be pulling up my notes and then didn't, because we got distracted talking about names. He was the like third corner I watched for some reason. Because the first guy I watched just in total was Travis Hunter, but Jade intrigues me. I don't know if I see him just like as a true just corner. I think he's very much he's gonna play everywhere in the secondary type guy. It really feels like he's one of those guys who just sees the field different than everybody else, which is incredible, and I love that. Seems like he knows what's coming even before the wide receiver does somehow. He's a super violent tackler. He takes great angles like all the time. His ability to drive on the ball and make plays is great. I like his instincts in zone and his ability to bait quarterbacks. He's very physical in press, and I like his ball skills. I am worried, though, top-end speed-wise. He can fall for a double move every once in a while.
Yeah.
And he has struggled against the bigger wide receivers. And then he suffers from every good corner seems to suffer from this now, and he just gets grabby if he's beat. Sauce does it. Everybody does it. I don't know why. He reminds me a lot of Desmond King, the old Texan.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I like Jade. Jade
is my. Yeah, Jade is my CB3.
Oh, sick. Okay.
And my comp for him is Brian Branch, because I think he is going to just be a nickel and a safety. Like, I don't foresee him really ever playing on the boundary just because of his lack of experience in man coverage.
Sure.
You look at Texas's defense, they just don't run man-to-man. That's just not something they do, like, ever. And so projecting that to the next level, he's got good athletic tools, but like you said, with him getting grabby and falling for, I don't know how much I trust that on the outside. But the idea of him just being this like rangy defender that can fly downhill against the run or, make plays from the nickel, rush the quarterback even, like, I think there's a lot of potential for him as just a playmaker on the back end.
Give him to Brian Flores so he can play
No.
zone on the out. No, I'm just saying this because it's funny. Because give him to a guy like Brian Flores then, who's just going to constantly blitz 7, but also only run zone somehow, and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand Brian Flores' defense, but apparently neither does any offensive coordinator except for, I don't even want to say except for Ben Johnson, because he gets fooled by it too. But Ben Johnson is the most fun to watch against it. Those Vikings-Bears games, if Dennis Allen can have a good defense going, Vikings-Bears games as a whole are going to be cinema for the next decade.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm so here for it.
Oh.
Especially if
sure.
Flores is in the Dennis Allen camp. And I don't think he's that bad of a head coach. I just mean in the NFL's not going to give him another shot. Because I could see the two coaching staffs staying very similar for a long time.
Yeah, with Ben Johnson just having a rotating staff of offensive coordinators.
The
we're
same
about to
as
become an OC factory.
I would say the same as KOC, but he did this incredible thing where he made his actual offensive coordinator a guy who will never get another shot because he got a DUI once, which I don't love, but I guess he can. That just adds some continuity because I don't even think he got interviews. Our quarterback's coach got interviews, and our one assistant got an OC job, but
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Who? Oh, you were just talking about Jade. Right. My number 3, I was looking through my notes. That's what was happening. Sorry, my brain is somewhere for sure. Do I not have...
You don't have a number 3?
No, I have a number 3. I just don't have any of my notes, apparently. Hello? It's Siobhan Revel.
He's my 6, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
What made you drop him? I'm just curious while I try to find my notes.
Lower level of competition, major injury, and lack of production across the board. Like,
what is it with the corners and the injuries this year?
I don't know. But, like, coming off a torn ACL, playing 3 years in the, what is it, American Conferences, ACC?
The ACC.
Is that what that stands for?
I think so.
Either way, then he, came up from playing JUCO ball, and then only played like 880 career snaps against D1 competition at, again, a less than stellar program against less than stellar competition. And also his defensive scheme that he played in was really, really simple and didn't really show me a whole lot in terms of what he can do outside of just play zone and attack the football, which is great, but I'd like to see more. And then also he's going to be 24 on draft night. So.
Yeah. He defies my normal rule.
The athleticism go Burr, though.
I also understand if you're not I know he's at a D1 school, but he's not at a D1 school. That makes it tougher. I get a little less judgy when you're an older guy from a worse school. Judge me for that. But it's like to be able to get noticed by NFL scouts at that level is a lot tougher. But him very similarly to Azarie? Yeah, I got to relearn how to say his name now. Super lengthy. Like you said, his athleticism, go Burr. He's also like his ability to change direction and his hips are so smooth all the time.
Yeah.
But he also has really good recovery speed, which is great. He's not afraid to be a run defender, which is all that matters as a corner. But yeah, the ACL injury scares me less because I don't know. When's the last time an ACL injury mattered to somebody, man?
It's not just the fact that it's an ACL injury, but he's also gotten banged up pretty consistently like before that. Like if you
Fair.
go back, he's missed games year in and year out.
Yeah, fair.
So I agree. If it was just like a one-time freak ACL tear, then sure. But
That's fair.
he's starting to build up a reputation, unfortunately.
Yeah, that does seem to happen. But I think, again,
No, I get it.
I was going to say the highs are there, man. And that's
No, I totally
what
get
we
it.
look for. So I'm guessing we have the same guy at number 2.
I would hope we have Will Johnson at number 2.
Oh, I thought it was Darian Porter. No, I'm just...
No!
I didn't even watch him. I just looked for a name.
Just shitty Tariq Woolen. So Tariq Woolen.
I was going to say, Tariq Woolen's kind of my comp for Revel.
He's my comp for Porter. My comp for
not
Revel
shitty Tariq Woolen. Just
ooh. For the first time ever, I have a throwback comp and you have a new player comp. And I say throwback. This isn't going to be that throwback for you, but it is for me. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Oh, dude. DRC was so good. That's such a good comp.
Yeah.
Good shit, Miller. Respect the hell out of that. Dude, I love DRC.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
Oh, real quick, just while I'm here, do I have any other old head comps?
Any other old head comps?
I mean, it's not really fair to say old head.
Damn.
Caleb Johnson, Darren McFadden.
Nice.
From that same era.
I like that.
Who is that? Raheem Sanders, Kerryon Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. That's not a throwback comp, but Denzel Mims with Aura for Jaden Higgins will not be funny to me.
That's tough.
It's one of my favorite comps ever. Let's see here. Any tight ends? No. Any tackles? Where am I? Oh, there we go. Hey, do you remember Teron Armstead? Remember that guy?
The guy who retired a week ago?
I know. No, but also, do you remember DJ Fluker?
Yes.
That's my comp for Holland Pierce.
Oh, okay.
TJ Clemmings for Logan Brown. Rodney Hudson for Jared Wilson. I know he's more recent than the other ones, but Muhammad Wilkerson for Darius Alexander was one I was really.
Okay.
BJ Raji for Jamari Caldwell. Fuck BJ Raji though. Diet Calais Campbell is also a funny comp. I don't know why, but that's silly to me. Yeah, I think that's all my old heads.
So, Will Johnson, my comp for him. Is JC Horn.
Yeah.
Dude,
me too.
I'm a Will Johnson truther.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He has everything.
Yeah, he is.
Injuries suck, but other than that, he has everything.
I've kind of ignored injuries on my board overall, like as you can tell with a lot of guys, me keeping them higher. Will Johnson is my number 4 prospect in this class. Like I'm sold. I'm all in. You got many thoughts?
What, with Will Johnson?
Yeah. Should we talk about what we hate since there's not a lot?
I mean, the only thing that like concerns me, like, okay, my biggest gripe with him is justifiable. And it's in 2024 when he tried to play through the separated shoulder, he made a lot of business decisions, and usually I will give a player shit for business decisions. But if you're the number 1 corner on the team and your shoulder's fucking out of place, don't tackle.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Dude,
it's not worth it.
That's how I have it written, is like he's got a, his missed tackle rate kind of went up as a junior. I wonder why. It's like, yeah, because he didn't have a shoulder. He just kind of, yeah, business decision. That's a good way to put it. I don't know. I have, like, he's a corner, man. He's a corner's corner. He does that. He gets beat sometimes peeking in the backfield looking for picks, but like That's what a good corner does. You're gonna get beat that way sometimes. That, and then his change of direction, while good, it just doesn't match his speed because he's fast, but he doesn't always change directions perfectly. But
Yeah.
his size, his speed, his football IQ, his ability to impress, his ball skills, like, he's incredible at everything. And as long as he's fully healthy, he'll be back to, like, actually giving a shit about making tackles, and that'll be good. He's great.
He's
I think
a true number one corner.
even with
sure.
out injuries, I wouldn't have him as my corner one, but he is easily my corner two.
I would. I 100% would. I just think he's a lot more polished than Travis. Like, I think their grades would be very, very similar.
Sure.
But while I recognize the upside of Travis because of the athleticism and the, like, one of a kind will never be replicated ball skills. And
dude, he's
the
Justin Jefferson as a corner.
Right, and his unreasonable understanding of, like, I don't want to put, like, he will never bite on a head fake. Like, he just knows all the shit you want to do to him in coverage. It's like, bro, I'm doing that here in like 10 minutes. Stop.
Yeah.
I will be doing this to your corners in like 5 minutes.
I know we were talking shit on NBA Kobe Bryant a bit ago. But I saw a clip of him talking about, like, pump fakes and the way he, like, didn't fall for them most of the time because of the way guys' bodies were. And to me, that is Travis Hunter, is he has learned the exact thing. Like, yeah, but his feet are in this position, so the head fake doesn't matter because he can't do that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like, the fact that he's already figured that out is insane. Sorry, I guess we're moving on to talk about Travis Hunter now, which is cool. So I have Travis Hunter as my number one prospect in the class, and that is because I think he is the best corner in the class, but I also think he's a top 5 receiver prospect, which, if you are that good at both things, and I get, we've all said, I don't think he's going to actually play both at the NFL level. Yeah, they said that when he went to Colorado too. I think guaranteed, at least throughout the beginning of the season, he will be playing every down at both until he's proven that he can't. And I don't know if we can prove that he can't. I really don't. Yeah. A guy can't play that many snaps. He played 1,400 snaps last year. Like, total. That's insane.
Yeah, my only thing with that is Colorado's schedule was not very difficult.
Sure.
And when you're going up against NFL corners, NFL receivers at 186 pounds, like, Trav is skinny.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more wear and tear.
Oh, for sure.
When you're getting bumped at the line or trying to bump at the line.
Oh, yeah.
So I do, I'm starting to grow on the idea of him actually playing both ways. But I think what's going to happen is one of his coaches, or what, maybe not right away, but at some point,
right away, he's going to do both fully because teams are going to want to know.
Right.
Like, you have to try.
At some point, his coaches are going to be like, okay, Trav, which one do you like more? That's your position, and then we got packages for you on the other. Like, if he wants to be a corner, then he'll be like wide receiver 4 and come in on shotgun 5 wide scenarios. Or if he wants to be a receiver, which would make a lot more sense because there's a lot more money in that, then he'll be like the dime back, where he can just be like a rangy ball hawk in the secondary, which would, honestly, as much as I think he's a better corner than receiver, this was a conversation that I was having, I think, with Jackson. The idea of it was because we were talking about the possibility of the idea of him being a full-time receiver, because that's probably what he's going to want to do because the money's there. Being a full-time receiver and then just being like a dime back where he doesn't have to play man-to-man really ever. He's just there as a robber, and he can just use his instincts and his ball skills to jump routes whenever he wants. Would be kind of insane.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just hoping so much that I want so badly for him to be at the NFL level what he was at college. Be able to just be an every down player at both. Be the NFL Shohei Ohtani. It would be so incredible. I don't know how you pay that motherfucker though, because that's an $80 million a year man. Because like if he can be what he was at Colorado, if you can be a top 5 corner and top 5 receiver, I'm sorry, you're more valuable than a QB. You just are.
Oh yeah.
Like outside of like Mahomes. But if you're
Yeah.
a true lockdown and a true number 1, that's ridiculous. And if he somehow got to be on a team where he doesn't have to be either, like, I don't know if I'm trying to think of teams that have both a corner and a receiver that are that early. Because my head went to the Browns, but they don't have a receiver 1. But they do have a corner 1 with Denzel Ward. Yeah, he's not even going to fall to the Bears, man.
Well, I'm just saying hypothetically.
Yeah. You know what team I'm
That's a good
really
example.
hoping he falls to? He won't. But you know who
Oh,
I want him to be a Jaguar.
that'd
I think
be
it'd
crazy.
be fun.
It's just Ramsey again, but both ways.
Yeah. But with a real quarterback.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to deal with Blake Bortles.
Oh,
No. What happened?
Ryan Ramchick retired.
Damn.
I mean, I knew that was coming, but like, oh.
I was kind of hoping it wouldn't. But.
Damn. You remember Ryan Ramchick? That's a throwback.
I don't feel like it is.
Oh my God, that's the 4th big name offensive lineman to this offseason.
Yeah, this
Him,
offensive
Tyron
line
Smith,
class is not good enough
Zach
to
Martin,
fill these holes.
And Teron Armstead.
That is, there's
Yeah.
at least 2 Hall of Famers there. I don't think Armstead will be, and Ramchick was good enough, but I think
Longevity is not there. He was what, like 8 years?
yeah, and as an offensive lineman, the longevity matters.
Yes.
This isn't where you saw the flash as a running back of like, oh, he's all time, but he only got to play 4
Right.
years. This ain't that.
Yeah, no,
So-
Zach Martin's a first ballot Hall of
Yes.
Famer, and Tyron Smith will get there eventually.
I was going to say he'll be 3rd or 4th ballot probably, but he'll get there.
Yeah.
There's no way he does. His is going to be, he has to wait just because of injury. He missed so much time.
Yeah.
Whereas Zach Martin never missed time until his final season when
Zach
his neck
Martin might
exploded.
be the greatest guard in NFL history.
Yeah.
Like, there's a real argument to be made there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know enough about, like, John Hanna
Right.
or Gene Upshaw
No, but there's
to,
an
like,
argument,
really
and that's all that
state a
matters.
case, but he's the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, second best I've seen.
I'm. Yeah. Do you have comps for Travis Hunter both ways?
Yeah, Darius Slay and Terry McLaurin.
Interesting. My comps for him are very. Well, one of them I had to add non-sicko to. Very recently. I've got Pat Pete and OBJ.
Oh yeah, because Odell he's Diddy's.
Apparently, yeah. But
Both fair though.
yeah. He's Pat Pete and OBJ non-sicko. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
I will say
I'm so in. I think Travis Hunter's going to be nuts.
I think he is too. But I have Trav on my board a little bit differently. I have receiver Travis Hunter and corner Travis Hunter.
See,
As
I
two
just
different
mixed
players.
them, and they're one player, and that one player is better than everybody else.
The reason I have 2 is because my brain.
Yeah.
I need to have an even number. And so it makes more, or a number, like an even number. So it makes more sense for me. And it also
Okay.
makes more sense because, like, if Travis Hunter is going to be a full-time wide receiver, I have his grade a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But if he's going to be a full-time corner, I have his grade
He's
a
going
little
to be
bit
a
higher. So
full-time both, I hope.
well, if that happens, then he's absolutely the
I
best. But
do guarantee
with
that's
the-
how his career starts. I don't know how long it
Absolutely.
lasts, but as a team, I don't care who you are that takes him. You have to, at least for the first couple of weeks, let him do both entirely all the time and see what happens. Yeah, it might end poorly to start, kind of, as like he just doesn't have the stamina to do it or whatever. But that's when you realize as a coach, this is why we had just these packages one way or the other ready. We pick what he's better at and we move. But to start, you got to see if kid can do both. You gotta.
Yeah, for reference though, Travis Hunter corner is the 4th player on my board, and Travis Hunter wide receiver is the 10th.
Okay. So
Actually,
you
that
have
might
him
change.
solid as a first-round pick either way.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
No question about it. And like if it was one player, he would be the second on my board.
Okay.
I'm not budging on Genty.
That's fair.
The only guys I have ahead of him are Genty, Ward, and Mason Graham.
The only concern I have with Genty is the college usage, which isn't a concern today,
I get
but
it.
it will be in 3 or 4 years.
I get that.
But I'm not going to lie, if I was the Titans, I would pick Genty. I'm not kidding. Yes, I think Travis Hunter is the better prospect, but I don't think the quarterback that they are taking, I don't think his ceiling's that much higher than Levis's. And I think if I'm going to suck this year anyways, I think Levis had the tools, man. I really do. I stand by that. I
think Ward has a higher ceiling and he has a substantially higher.
But here's my thing. You know my opinion on Ward.
I get that. That's
part
where
of
the
it.
disconnect
But here's
is.
the thing that I am thinking about, and it is, I think even if Ward is the prospect you think he is compared to the prospect I think he is, the Titans are still going to be one of the 5 worst teams in football, no matter what. Which means they're going to be in position to next year in a quarterback class that might be nearly as loaded as last year's. I would rather wait and be in on Arch Manning and Miller Moss and these guys rather than just take Cam Ward just because he's there. And you can get Genty, who honestly or Travis Hunter. I think those are the 2 guys. Like, you have to consider them because you get the better QB prospect next year. Yeah, maybe Cam Ward works out and maybe the guy you were going to take next year doesn't. But I think from what we've seen so far, all of the other guys are better prospects. And when you know you're going to be shit next year either way, I'm taking Genty or Hunter, who gives us an actual player for the future to help our quarterback. Because your quarterback the guy you're going to take just had to lie to everybody and claim that Tony Pollard was a top 5 running back and that...
Funniest shit I've ever seen, dude.
I respect the fuck out of it. Like, shouts out to him.
Listen, AJ Brown's a dog, but he's no Calvin Ridley. Is an all-time sport. I need that shit on a fucking flag, dude. Like...
I mean, that might move him above Shador on my board just because, like, that's Shador would never.
Listen, I'm just saying.
No hate to Shador. That's just...
When he gets picked by the Titans, if they don't make that into a T-shirt,
dude,
they're fumbling the bag.
Imagine if tomorrow night, or not, I don't know why I'm saying tomorrow night, like the draft's tomorrow. Yeah, imagine literally a week from right now. Like, exactly, actually. This is really weird. Yeah. Imagine it is Travis Hunter at 1. Like, it wasn't...
You just put out a tweet immediately, fuck Calvin Ridley.
Dude, like, imagine it wasn't Cam Ward, like, knowing he was a Titan. What if it's trying to convince them to take him at 1 and they don't do it? That would be the funniest shit to ever happen.
Yeah.
No, he's a Titan.
Oh.
I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's probably really bad. Because all the flaws that I... Yeah.
You want to feel old real quick?
No, but hit me.
NFL players to retire this offseason. Julio Jones, Patrick Peterson, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Teron Armstead, Ryan Ramchick, Jason Peters, Brandon Graham, Sam Hubbard, which I didn't.
Yeah.
Micah Hyde, Mason Crosby, Mitch Morse, Michael Pierce, Keanu Neal, and then also John Kaminsky, because I don't know why he's in the same conversation as
Jason Peters being there is so funny because I swear he hasn't played in 3 years.
He was on the Seahawks last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was the Seahawks. Let me double check that. He was somewhere.
That would make
he
sense
because
Cross
like
got
2
hurt.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seattle for 2 years. 23 to 24.
Nuts. But yeah. I respect the hell out of Cam Ward already being that sold on his teammates. What's up?
I just opened up his Wikipedia to double check that, and I caught a quote. It says, coming out of the draft, Jason Peters was a fairly athletic tight end at more than 320 pounds. He was also seen as, quote, a clone of former Denver Broncos giant Orson Mobley.
Oh.
Shout out Orson Mobley, who played 5 years in the NFL.
Since I guess this is our last prospect.
5 years in the NFL versus probable Hall of Famer. Crazy. Real quick, did you have any other corners you wanted to bring up?
So you wanted me to talk about Kobe Bryant, so I made sure to watch him.
Well, I figured you would.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Kobe?
I like Kobe, actually. He reminds me of a player that I know you like quite a bit.
Okay, who's that?
A certain Patriot turned Raider.
Do we have the same comp?
Jack Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Jack Jones at now? Because the Raiders are cutting him.
I think, didn't he get arrested?
2 years. But that's why he left the.
Oh yeah, because he had a bomb threat or some shit. Didn't he
took a gun with him to the airport.
Oh,
in his luggage or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah,
that's why he got cut
agent
from the Patriots. As far as I know, nothing happened. In Vegas, as far as I know.
Yeah, no, it was just the one. He also got arrested in 2018 for commercial burglary for stealing from a Panda Express.
Bro was in college and he was hungry. I don't know. 2018. Yeah, he was in college and he was hungry.
Yeah,
leave him alone.
Moore Park.
Leave him alone.
Ironically, also called the Raiders.
Legend. But yeah, I'm a big Jack Jones fan. I liked Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe's my CB8.
Right now he's my CB7, but that's because he's also my CB8. Weird. I have a third round grade on him.
I have an early to mid third grade on him.
Yeah, but you watch any kickers yet, Miller?
Well, hold on. I got a question about one more corner.
Well, please.
Have you watched Noel Williams from Cal?
No.
That dude is just Jalen Johnson turned down to 4.
So I'm not sure if I will watch. I am only guaranteeing that I will watch the guys I've watched. I'm not sure if I'll get to anybody else. But the next corners on my list were Dorian Porter, but you make me unsure if I want to do that.
Like I said, it's just Tariq Woolen again.
Denzel Burke. And then
also not a huge Burke guy.
The only other guy I was positive I wanted to watch, there's two. Jabbar Muhammad, because people keep mocking him to Minnesota later, and I want to know why.
Okay.
That's the entire reason for him. And then there's another guy that is for the weirdest reason of all time.
Uh-huh.
It goes back to my theory of corners with super long dreads always being good. Never great, never bad, always good. So I want to watch Jamari Harris out of Iowa just to see if he continues my belief or not.
Fair.
That's it. There's not a real reason. There's no hype behind it. I just want to see if my theory continues. Because he is the only guy. I guess Noel Williams looks like he has him. So I might have to watch Noel.
Noel Williams is fun. Like I said,
good.
He is one of 3 corners in this class that I think genuinely look at the other team and go, give me your number 1. He's mine today. And you will not throw at him.
Yeah.
And I think that's so badass. Or a fucking mid-round guy from Cal to have that kind of confidence. And honestly, to back it up more often than not is awesome.
Legend.
He plays so much like Jalen in the sense that he's not super athletic, but he's sticky. And he's really, really smart. I love Noel Williams.
And there's just something about corners with that kind of confidence most of the time, unless they're Eli Apple.
Yeah.
Don't know what's up with that guy, but
I will say that Noel is also like Jalen in the sense that they have that confidence, but they don't talk about it. Like Jalen
Oh,
doesn't chirp.
I'm thinking of the wrong Jalen off the top of my brain went to Jalen Ramsey when you kept saying Jalen.
Oh no, I'm thinking of my Jalen.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, Jalen, like when he's on the field, he'll lock a dude down. Like you know that.
Yeah.
You know that better than anybody. He will lock someone down, but he doesn't talk about it.
Right.
Ever. And Noah Williams wasn't like on the field chirping. He just did his job and then went to the sideline. Like nothing mattered. It was awesome. I love Noah Williams. Also, to answer your question, no, I have not watched a single kick.
Yeah, I haven't either. I need to. I don't know if I will.
I won't be watching any kickers.
I do have to unfortunately end this episode because I am late to the other recording I have to go to. So, I'm glad we got through.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody else you wanted to yell about? I don't think so, but you might.
I like Brock Lampy, fullback, Northern Illinois. He's very good. Bear, please. Thank you.
Next episode, I guess, will be post-draft, technically.
Yeah, we will be live for the draft
on
Thursday. The two of us, Jake, and probably some other people that'll show up and do things and whatnot. And then I don't know about Geek, but I will be live on Friday on this channel.
Yes.
With probably some other people like we did last year where you and Jake left me.
Stop calling me. It keeps popping up on the fucking thing. Grayson is impatient, so I gotta go.
All right.
But yeah, I guess this has been Run the North. This has been Dungeons and Dragons. There were no Dungeons or Dragons. Sorry, I had to steal your outro from the stream last night.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, rate, review on Spotify, whatever the fuck is going on. And we'll see you after the draft and probably be irrationally angry over something again, just like last year.
Yeah.
But Miller, finish the outro so I can yell the thing.
Thank you all for watching. This was Run the North.
Bye.